Hello, world class, prosperous, purposeful, powerful, catalytic, impactful coaches. It's so wonderful to be here with you today as we dive into the second module. Would love to invite you to come on camera and just put everything aside. And I'd love to unmute the lines and we'll just say yes, just to align our intention. Now, just recommitting to your intention to become a world-class coach who's known for the depth of their listening and the life-changing, extraordinary results that they create. That is who you are becoming. Let's unmute the lines and just say hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
Hello.
thanks for joining.
Hi, everybody.
Good to see you.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
Hello,
Hi.
everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Everybody. Hi.
Right.
All over the world.
I'm just so moved by the incredible field of amplification, of energetic support, of being together in a growth container with so many dedicated, caring, gifted coaches, practitioners coming together in a shared intention to break through our own inner barriers and to serve our clients at the deepest level, to unleash our clients' power and potential. It's deeply moving to feel that level of care for yourself, for each other, and for who you are here to serve. And it truly is such an incredible honor to be your mentor and guide on this journey. And so with that, we are going to dive in and going to begin module 2. But first, I just want to say congratulations. You are making progress just by bringing into awareness the big ideas and the power practices in the first module, stepping into a growth container, self-leadership into a growth mindset, being able to lead your clients into growth and into commitment and establish this power partnership where you have become a catalytic presence and you're calling forth power and possibility and partnership for the growth journey ahead. This is such an incredible foundation from which now you have the space and you have the conditions for success to do your deepest work. And so from here, we're going to take the next step today to ignite your client's vision. So let's dive in. And as always, I want to encourage you to put everything to one side as we take a moment just to make a shift from ordinary awareness to extraordinary awareness. As today's session, this module always is going to be highly experiential. So I want to invite you to bring into this session and training the kind of awareness that would have this be a powerful space for your own growth and your own breakthrough, simply because by you discovering how these practices and big ideas and principles apply to yourself, it's going to support you and build your confidence in having an embodied understanding in how to bring these forth with others, right? So I just want to remind you and remember you, I normally teach so many of these processes and skills over the course of a year where there's a lot of time for practice. So really want to encourage you to, just to know that being brilliant and imperfect and taking action just to experiment with this and play with this, that you are succeeding. So I'd love to formally welcome you to Module 2 of our Masterclass, Igniting Your Client's Vision. And in this step, I'm going to show you how to expand your client's vision beyond their current horizon. You're going to have an opportunity to practice this yourself as we move through the steps. And so as always, we're going to begin by making a shift from ordinary awareness into extraordinary awareness. And so just taking a moment to put everything to one side and just taking a nice deep breath. Taking your attention from wherever it's been so far today, all of the things that there are to do, to take care of, to make happen, all of the needs of those in your life that you're serving. And just energetically, just imagine that you're bringing your attention and your awareness back to yourself, back inside your own body. And just with each breath, just allowing your awareness to drop all the way down into your hips, down into your legs, down into the soles of your feet and into the earth. And just with each breath, step into who you are when you are powerful, when you're creative, when you're loving with an open heart, when you're contributing to others, when you're connected to your genius, and expanding your awareness outward to the edges of the room, knowing that you are already connected to an energy and intelligence in the universe that's bigger than your own mind. And so you can let go and you can move into a spacious curiosity, this powerful place of discovery, not knowing, wanting to know, openness, receptivity, and just expanding your awareness out, becoming aware of the field of relationship in your life, your family members, your community, the clients that you serve, bringing them into our circle today, being aware of everyone else in the masterclass, knowing that we come together with a shared intention to grow, to become of incredible service with our gifts, to be able to do our greatest work, and to be able to make a meaningful contribution. And we give ourselves and each other permission to be brilliant and imperfect, knowing that we are moving forward in each and every moment. Align with that intention. Together, we simply say yes. Yes to that intention. Yes to being brilliant and imperfect. And yes to the discoveries ahead in this module. All right, so just coming back into our mindsets, right? So we're inside this, we're in a process of learning. It's really normal in the process of learning to feel like, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this, right? That's so normal, right? But what's the mindset that we want to bring? I am an excellent beginner. Or, I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to experiment with this. I'm going to play with this. I'm going to see what I can learn by trying this on, right? I don't need to do this to be perfect. The way that I learn is by sitting in the driver's seat and practicing and experimenting and reflecting on things that work and reflecting on things that I would do differently next time. That is what it looks like to grow your greatness and to become world-class. And so you are investing in your growth. You are investing in your skills, and bringing in this mindset supports you to be in a place where you're going to get even more from this experience. Okay, so just feel where that is in your body, to let go of any need to get it right, or to know all of the answers, or to already be able to do this, and instead move into curiosity and a willingness to be in that magic growth zone of exploration, of risk, of stepping out and beginning to explore new things. All right, so we are going in today to our next module. And really, this big idea of igniting potentials. You've been successful at igniting your clients' potentials when there is a release of, like, a visceral, energetic release of potential, where your client is able to feel inside of them a bigger possibility, feel the potentiality for an extraordinary result, right? That's what the process of igniting a vision unleashes. But the second thing is they feel that potential, but the second thing is they come into full alignment with that potential and congruence with that potential and intentionality to be stepping into that potential. Okay, so that's really what success looks like. You've unleashed this energy and your client is aligned and all in to create it. So in this module, you're going to continue to utilize and practice the super skill of amplification. And I'm going to introduce you to even more deeply resourcing and sponsorship. We're going to go even more deeply into resourcing, and I'm going to introduce you to sponsorship. So in this module, we're going to cover the critical step that most coaches overlook before setting the vision, right? Like there's so much you're going to discover here needs to happen before the step that is the difference that makes the difference. There's a big idea I'm going to share with you about the hot areas, the powerful questions that you can be asking that will connect your client with a visceral felt sense of their potential and how to focus them so that those potentials are ignited. Now, these are often different from the presenting area or problem or challenge a client wants to work on, and really important to be able to get extraordinary results. I'm going to show you the alchemical process that ignites potential. There's actually an igniting process that happens. You're going to draw on your skill of amplification. And when you're setting a vision, right? So it's like, yes, we do want to have concrete, tangible, clear outcomes, but we don't just want to do that from our mind or have that be abstract. What's really important when you're setting a coaching outcome at the beginning of an engagement is what I'm going to share in this second to last step, which is about creating what I call a sensory-based vision, where your client is able to bring their vision into their senses, what it looks like, what it feels like, and step into the self they have become in the fulfillment of the vision. Okay, these are our most important points that we're going to cover as we go through each and every step of the process today. So the big idea I want to share with you is this idea of igniting a vision, right? So you've created a powerful growth container, but it's important to be aware that your client is going to likely aim way, way lower than their possibilities for lots of reasons that we're going to go into. So without your support and without going through this step of igniting potentials, chances are your client could be setting goals from fear and scarcity or reaction or from aiming lower. And, as a result, won't be able to access the courage or confidence to be able to take the risk of stepping into a bigger vision because they can't feel it, they can't connect with it. So the big idea I want to share with you is that this process of igniting potentials, it really is this deeper psychoactive process of becoming, where a client begins to viscerally inside of themselves connect with their unrealized potentials of their future self and the impulse that is within all potentials in this world and in this universe, the impulse of becoming. Everything in existence and everything in creation has an impulse to become its most realized version. What we need to be able to do that are the proper conditions, right? It's the idea if you see like a seed in potentiality. So there's a visceral ignition, and we're going to go into this a little bit later when we talk about the process of self-actualization, as this is such an area of importance when working with women, especially who are feeling the self-actualization impulse, or clients who are feeling the self-actualization impulse, because the thing is, when you ignite potentials, it activates this chain reaction of all potentials coming forward. And so, this visceral impulse to become, this is what we're really looking for in this step. And so there's two things that create this, that unleash this process. It's being really connected, this felt sense of being connected with a bigger possibility, And number two, being fully aligned and intentional. I'm going to keep saying this, intentional. We have so many potentials. Very few of us are intentional and congruent and aligned with going for the fullness of them as a result of inner barriers or non-possibility, lots of things that we're going to explore. But this is what ignites potentials. Okay, so this process of igniting potentials is really in contrast with traditional goal setting. And, in the coaching industry, so many places, we are trained as practitioners to ask our clients the question, okay, you're signing up for coaching. Like, what's your goal? What do you want to create? Right? So this is really difficult and problematic, especially in a context where you're coaching women or marginalized populations of any kind. And, I've shared this earlier because, when I speak about women and women's experience, I've found that the applications really do expand to self-actualizing men, people of any gender, and marginalized communities as well. I've really seen firsthand in the work I've done how much there's a through line. I know that many in our community are doing that incredibly important work, and I'm so grateful to share. And I want to just reinforce that this is definitely something you can be using in these contexts too. And I look forward to hearing your feedback about how that works and what you're discovering with that. All right. So here's what's problematic about asking the question, what's your goal? For lots of different reasons. And it's really important for you as a woman-centered coach, or you're informed by woman-centered coaching principles, that you're aware of why that question is a problem and why that's not the first question that we want to be asking. So the research shows that women are held back by so many different inner barriers. Women will aim way lower than their actual possibilities. You need to get your client connected to their actual possibilities to create extraordinary results. So women will aim way, way lower as a result of invisible barriers where they are disconnected from their true potentials. And unless you disrupt this at the beginning of the coaching relationship, it's a disconnect from these potentials. Unless you disrupt it, it's really impossible to get extraordinary results. So let's have a look at these reasons why coaches aim lower, right? So coaches and practitioners, we assume our clients already know what they want and what's possible. The research shows women are going to aim way lower. Women are held back by invisible barriers that limit their potential. You absolutely must disrupt this disconnect at the start of the coaching therapeutic relationship, or you're never going to be able to get extraordinary results. So here's some of those barriers and what they are. The first is the expectations gap. This is what I like to call the expectations gap. Research shows women's expectations for themselves and their lives are 50% lower of men with the same level of education and same abilities and qualifications. And they're even lower for women of color. And sadly, it also shows that both men and women actually expect less from women, as well as underestimate their potentials, right? And so, that research about 50% less, I would say, in my experience coaching women, like that's kind of standard, because we're living in this era of unprecedented opportunity and possibility. Women are not connected to what's possible for them, right? If I had asked one of our faculty members, Adria, when she was in the program developing her woman-centered coaching skills, what was her vision and what did she think was possible in increasing her fundraising, she would never have said, oh, I want to go from $10,000 a year to $2 million a year, right? Like that was so outside of her sense of what was possible. or, how we tend to think about things, right? As being like realistic and achievable. So women have this incredible untapped potential that is vastly underestimated by themselves and by probably everybody else around them. So the counter move, you're always working against and being, always working with and being informed by this is like, the why not them? That's the practice that we've done. And amplification, really opening up possibility, opening up, raising your expectations, and really speaking that out loud. I expect great things from you. Who knows? There may be an even bigger possibility than that. All of that language is so important, and for you to be doing that yourself and raising that ceiling for yourself in the why not me, that creates a spaciousness for you to be why not them, and standing in an authentic catalytic way. You have real authority in your presence when you say that. The next area, the power penalty, right? So research shows that women who are seen to be ambitious and reach higher are perceived as less likable by both men and women as well, right? So, we're underestimating our own competence and our own capacities. So what you're going to find is your client downplays their achievements, are very hesitant to be seen of being overly ambitious or reaching higher for fear of being judged, as well as a fear of looking foolish by setting a big goal and not being able to achieve it, which is one of the things that suppresses natural impulses and natural, and the natural impulse to want to reach higher and explore possibilities, right? Like that's one of those inner glass ceilings that is suppressing that bigger possibility for your client. So the counter move, again, amplification. And I want to share another reason why here this is so critical, because you, believe it or not, you might not see this at yourself because you're like, oh, I'm brilliant and I'm really brilliant and imperfect and I'm just little me, the coach. But you have residency in your client's psyche as an authority figure because you are a professional that they have hired, right? And this is important to be aware of the power that you hold to positively influence your client. So when you get amplified by an authority figure, such as a coach and someone with credentials, right? When you amplify and you say, well, gosh, I see the possibility for you is, and I see the opportunity for you is, right? This creates a safe space where your client can explore reaching higher without fear of being judged for aiming too high, or all of those ways that female ambition is coded as a negative characteristic trait and thinking too much of myself and who am I to, right? That's the why not you. But I want to invite you to awaken to that power that you have, as an authority figure to authorize your client to be stepping in and playing higher and reaching higher and stepping into a bigger possibility. All right. So finally, we're coming to the self-actualization impulse. And, this is really something to recognize because there's such a focus in setting the outcome there's such a deep embedded assumption that the client knows what they want to create and I'm here to help them. This is a specific thing that I found in my research about self-actualization. And, clients have expectations, they have desires, but they have unidentified deep yearnings and potentials. And no one has been able to help them unlock these, right? So the deepest yearnings and biggest possibilities that your client has, chances are your client's not going to be able to identify those for themselves, right? They're not going to be able to identify. So this is a really kind of deep thing to take in, that your clients are yearning for outcomes. They don't even have language to identify, let alone to aspire to, right? And so this is part of where you come in, because you're informed by what these yearnings are, and you can begin to help to bring language to these deeper desires, right? So there's the yearning to become visible and seen and known, right? Very hard to language that. There's a yearning to be in a growth-oriented relationship where you're loved not just for who you are, but you're unconditionally supported to become the best version of yourself by a partner and by family members and by friends. There's a deep yearning to be able to align livelihood and how you make a living with something that is life positive, right? There's something deeply out of alignment for a self-actualizing client when their livelihood is part of a toxic transactional workplace and can't locate relational connection where they can find their gifts. Like, that is a deep, unmet, urgent need to discover their higher purpose, their unique genius gifts, and who needs those, to express their creativity, to deepen their spiritual connection, to be connected to a higher power, and to really have a context in their lives that's bigger than just, how do I get what I want for me? This is a deep, deep, unnamed yearning. Postmodernism has become about the self. The culture of social media edifies narcissism, right? And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what it's experiencing, but I can't locate who the greatest versions of myself in a context that's just about me. There is an incredible hunger for a higher purpose and a set of meaning frames bigger than self-fulfillment. Wouldn't you say that's true for you too, if you look at your own life and self, right? And what it is to be a self-actualizing person, to cultivate, it's not about a number on the scale. It's about feeling at home in my body. That's the yearning of the self-actualizing woman. It's feeling unself-conscious and really connected, and having the energy and vitality to live your most beautiful life, right? Like, that's really what health and well-being is in a context of self-actualization, and being able to make a profound difference with your gifts and your life energy, right? So rarely are you going to find a client who comes in and says, oh, I'd love to partner with you to create these things. And, what you're going to find is actually these are the deeper yearnings that your client has underneath their presenting problem or goal. Part of being able to elevate your rates and renewals and referrals and build a really thriving, successful business, all of these things serve your client as well. Because what you're going to do in this step is you're going to solve bigger problems, right? By unlocking bigger possibilities, you're going to be able to solve bigger problems. And in that, you're going to be able to create more value, which is something that's going to have clients want to invest more deeply in working with you because of the outcomes, right? So it's very hard to get to extraordinary results where your client comes in and is playing small and is disconnected from their potential and, has like a small goal. You're like, okay, I'll partner with you around that, right? So you see how important this is. And this is, all connected. All right. So the self-actualization impulse, just to summarize here, these higher potentials are outside. Also, this is another point that's important. These potentials, or higher potentials, or what's possible, they're outside of clients' self-concept to have. Now, this is a really strange paradox, right? I'm yearning for something that's outside my current self-concept to have or receive. This is part of the incredible confusion. that your client is in, right? So as a result of that, I don't let myself feel the yearning or desire for it, which means I'm not intentional about bringing it forward. Deeper potentials are often in conflict with ideas your client might have about the priorities in their mind, making it really challenging for them to even identify, much less articulate their deeper desires, right? I'm like really set, I'm kind of have this idea in my mind. I need to write a book. That's the most important thing, but I'm really disconnected from the deeper thing that I'm feeling, which is I really yearn for a life partner. Now, we're going to get into this when we go into self-actualization.